Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be testing out more new drugstore makeup. I have some brand new products from Uoma by Sharon C, which is available at Walmart. I have a new foundation, mascara, also some lip products as well. So really fun stuff to test out. I also have the Juvia's Place Blushed Rose palette. This isn't super new, but I showed it in a haul video a couple weeks ago and I got so many requests from you to try it on and see what it looks like. So you will get to see this in action as well. So let's go ahead and jump into the video and I'll meet you guys back here at the end with my final thoughts. All right guys, so let's go ahead and get ready. I already did my brows and eyeliner just because I find it so hard to do those on camera and actually get them right or looking okay. So I just did those ahead of time, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and start with eyes just because in case there's any fallout, and I'm gonna be using the Juvia's Place Blushed Rose palette. I've actually used this one a couple of times already and I really enjoy it a lot. So I think I'm gonna start out with this light pink shade right here, and I'm going to apply that with my Refer number 14 brush, which is such a perfect crease brush if you have hooded eyes because it's a nice small size. So I am just going to start blending that along my crease. And these shadows blend so easily, like pretty much they blend themselves. They're beautiful. All right, so next I'm gonna go ahead and deepen up the crease, but I wanna use the same brush, and I just recently got this new tool from Sigma. It's called the Sigma Switch, and this is so amazing because you can take your brush that's dirty and just run it along the switch, and it completely cleans off your brush. It gets off every tiny little bit of shadow that's on there without having to actually wash it. All of that pink shadow that I just had on my brush is completely gone, and I can go ahead and use another color, and it doesn't, you know, mix the colors or anything. So I love that. I just keep it right next to me, and I'm constantly using it as I'm doing my eyeshadow, so it's fantastic. So to deepen up the crease, I'm just gonna use this shade right here. And I'm just gonna concentrate this one more toward the outer corner and then just blend it in towards the middle. I really love this palette. I feel like I'm not a huge pink eyeshadow person, but I think that the pinks in here, they're almost more like peachy pinks. This is the first pink palette that I've really loved. And they really do just blend out so effortlessly. I really love Juvia's Place. I think their quality is amazing and their pricing is really good too. All right, so I think when it comes to the shimmer shades, I'm probably gonna mix the two together. So first I'm gonna use this one right here, which is so stunning. It's like a golden peach. It's just gorgeous. I love this. You can obviously use this one on its own, but I do like to kind of top it with the pink as well. So I'm just going to pat this one on with my finger and then blend it out with a brush. And this brush is the e.l.f. blending eye brush. And I like to just take this and kind of go back and forth along the area where the shimmer shade meets the crease shade and just blend those two together. And I'm trying to go a little bit higher on this side because this is my more hooded eye. So when my eyes are open, I always like them to be as even as possible. So with this one, I feel like the shadow looks like it's up higher. So I try to apply the shadow a little higher on this side. It doesn't always work. I don't always get it exactly even, but I try to make them as close as possible. Okay, so next I'm gonna pick up this light pink shade here and just top that one. I feel like this is pretty sheer, so you can still see the color of the other one through it, but it just kind of mixes the colors together and makes them look beautiful. So just gonna tap this on. And this one is a little bit more glowy than the first one too. It's a little more metallic. So I think it just kind of amps up the look a little bit more. All right, then I'm just gonna blend that out. And then for my lower lash line, I'm just gonna use the Refer number 23 brush. It's a tiny little pencil brush, and I'm gonna pick up that same shade that I used on my lid, the orangey shade or peachy, and I'm just gonna run this along my lower lash line. All right, so then for mascara, I'm gonna be using the new Uoma by Sharon C Level Up mascara. It only comes in one shade, which is black, and it claims to be a natural volumizing mascara with 77% natural ingredients. It also has a very classic traditional mascara wand. It's also not too big or too small. I feel like it's a really nice size for a mascara wand. So let's try this out. Right away, it feels like a slightly drier formula. I wouldn't say it's super dry, but it's not like a really wet formula either. I guess it's kind of somewhere in the middle. I feel like this might have a tendency to clump a little bit. Like I'm just kind of combing out clumps as I go. My lashes are sticking together just a little. Okay, so here is the finished result. It does look a little bit clumpy, but also, wow, it gave me so much length and volume. I'm really, really impressed with this. I'm hoping that it lasts throughout the day and doesn't smudge underneath my eyes because I really love the effect that it gave. Like I said, I was combing through a little bit of clumping, but I feel like sometimes that sort of goes with the territory when you have a really volumizing formula. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do the other eye really quick. Okay, so next up we have the Uoma by Sharon C Flawless IRL Skin Perfecting Foundation. I really wasn't sure what shade to get. It does have a pretty nice shade range. So I picked up the shade Fair Lady T1. This claims to have medium to full coverage, available in 6 unique formulations, infused with green coffee extract. It says long-lasting, transfer-proof with a soft, radiant, natural finish. This skin perfecting balm is supercharged with skincare ingredients to cater for your specific skin needs while making it the perfect makeup and skincare hybrid. So let's go ahead and test this out. I'm really, really excited. I know a lot of people loved the original Uoma foundation that was at Ulta. So this is a totally different line that's available at Walmart. So we'll have to see. I'm guessing this one is a completely different formula. But anyway, just putting it on the back of my hand, it does look a little bit yellow. It really was so hard to tell in the store what the undertones were. So we'll just see what happens. And I'm using the Essence sponge, which I really like. It gets huge. Like it probably triples in size from what it starts as. It's a really nice one. So this seems to have kind of a little bit of a moussey texture to it. And I'm not really seeing like even medium coverage. It's kind of like a light coverage in the first pass. It could also be because I'm using a sponge. Maybe I might get more coverage if I tried it with a brush, which maybe I'll actually do on the other side of my face, and then we can kind of compare how it goes on. I'm also someone who tries to use foundation very sparingly. I don't like to use a lot. I usually just like to put on a little bit and then see what happens. And if I need to build it, I can build it. But having dry skin and being in my 40s, it's just like if I use too much, I find that it can just look too heavy on me and can get cakey really fast. I'm still working from just that one pump that I put on my hand, so I haven't added any more. I still see my dark spots peeking through over here. I still see a little redness around my nose that it didn't cover with the sponge. So let me go ahead and grab a brush and we'll see how the other side goes. All right, so this is the Sigma Flat Kabuki F80 brush. So I'm gonna dip into what's left on my hand and just start working it in on the other side. I feel like the coverage is similar. It doesn't really appear to be giving more coverage, I don't think. But when I look close up in the mirror, this side already looks a little bit drier than the side where I used the damp sponge. And this is also one of those foundations that doesn't go into your skin very easily. It kind of sits on top and moves around a little. So I find that it makes it a little difficult to get really good coverage because I feel like I put it in one spot and then as I'm blending, it kind of moves from that spot and I have to go back over it again and again, especially on my nose. I feel like it's not sticking to my nose very well. There are just some foundations that are like that. And I feel like if I add too much, it's going to start to look cakey. It already is looking a little bit cakier on my chin area, which isn't very smooth. I have kind of that like orange peel texture going on my chin, and no matter what I do, no matter how much I exfoliate, it's never completely smooth right here. So foundations tend to not sit very well on my chin regardless. But I feel like today it's even worse than usual. It just kind of looks, it makes my chin look a little fuzzy. Like you can just see the foundation clinging to the top layer of my skin right there. But on the rest of my face, it looks really nice. Like I said, the side where I use the brush looks a little bit drier than the side that I use the sponge. So I think I'm just gonna go over this with the damp sponge a little bit and just kind of see if I can push it into my skin a little bit more. But as far as the finish goes, this is a foundation that dries down completely. It doesn't feel sticky or dewy. So I do worry a little bit that it's going to start to look dry throughout the day because I do have a drier skin type. I would say it's kind of like a semi-matte. It's not a super flat matte, but it's also not dewy either. And I wouldn't even call it a satin because I don't really see a lot of that just natural sheen from my skin. It does have that kind of moussey whipped feel, and a lot of those moussey foundations tend to just kind of sit on top of your skin and they don't go in all the way. And like I mentioned, they're the type that usually kind of push around as you're applying it and don't like stick to certain areas. So I'm curious to see how this is going to wear throughout the day, but I want to go outside and take my natural lighting photo or video, just so you can see what it looks like without all of my magic lights here making everything look perfect. So I'm going to head outside and do that, and I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Wow, is it hot out there? Oh my gosh. So anyway, I did take a video of my skin in natural lighting so you guys can see what that looks like. And to be honest with you, I'm actually not upset about the way this is sitting on my skin. I don't think it's really over accentuating my pores. I think it looks pretty smooth for the most part on most of my face. I do think my chin is just a little bit of a trouble spot, just not looking the best, but it always does that with most foundations, so I can't really fault the foundation for that. There are very few that actually look smooth on my chin area, but I would definitely not call this a full coverage foundation. Even with a brush, I can still see a lot of my dark spots. I would say it's maybe like a light to medium coverage, and maybe you can build it up to full, but I'm gonna stop here and just leave it the way it is because I feel like if I add any more, it might stick to itself and move around. It kind of seems like that sort of a formula. So I'm a little nervous to add another layer, and I think it also might start to get cakey looking. So I'm just gonna leave it alone. I feel like it looks fine the way it is. So let's move on to blush. And I was originally thinking I was gonna use the blushed palette from Juvia's Place. It's gorgeous. You have this kind of really beautiful terracotta, and then you have a light pink. And I've been loving this blush palette, but as I was using the eyeshadow palette, I realized something. And this is your money-saving tip of the day. Inside the eyeshadow palette we were just using, I feel like these pan sizes are really huge. This shade right here, this matte that I use to deepen my crease, and this matte that I used to do my crease initially, these two look almost identical to the blushes in this palette right here. So I feel like you could probably save your money and just use the eyeshadow for blush if you wanted to, because like I said, these pans are so big, you can easily get a blush brush in them. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, and we'll see how this shade right here looks as a blush, and I think it'll just pair really nicely with the eyeshadow look. So I'm just gonna take my Flower Beauty blush brush and just dip into this shade right here. And let's see what it looks like. I haven't tried these on my cheeks yet. I've been using the blush palette, but just using those two colors on my eyes made me think like, wait a second, these look just like the blushes. And these eyeshadows blend so beautifully as well. You don't really have any issue using them for blush at all. So that'll definitely save you guys a little bit of money if you've been looking at this collection and wanting the blush palette too. I feel like you can just buy the eyeshadow palette and you have pretty much those same two shades. They're not identical, but they're really close. And then next I have a new lip product from the Uoma by Sharon C brand. This is called the It's Complicated Lip Tint Plus Oil Plus Gloss. So I'm kind of wondering how that works, because usually lip tints are like a stain that don't have a glossy appearance. They don't feel hydrating usually like a lip oil does. So I'm very curious curious about these. I got 2 different shades. These were kind of the lighter of the options. So the shades that I got are Casually Lit, which again is kind of like a terracotta shade. It's really, really beautiful. And I think this is going to be gorgeous in the fall time with all of those kind of pumpkin-y, orangey looks. And then I also got Softy, which is more of a pinky nude. So I think I'm going to go with Softy for this look, and I'll save the deeper shade for another time. So let's see how these work. Oh, it's almost like the same color as my lips, this one. Like a Your Lips But Better. Right away, it feels like you're putting on a lip oil. It's not sticky like a gloss, but there is a little bit of shine, not too much. It basically feels like a very, very lightweight lip gloss. Kind of like an oil, but it doesn't have that oily feel. As I'm wearing it, it's already starting to dry down. It's starting to get just a little bit sticky, kind of like when you apply a liquid lipstick and at first it feels like kind of slippery, but then it starts to dry and get that sticky sort of feel. Huh, that's really interesting. I feel like it's not going to stay or keep that glossy feeling for too long. I have a feeling that maybe in a few more minutes, it's going to sort of morph into like a lip tint instead and not have any glossiness whatsoever. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and do my hair, and I'll be back to give you guys my final thoughts. All right, I'm back. Hair is done. By the way, I did my hair like this in the last video I did, and I got so many compliments. Thank you guys so much. Really, I didn't do anything differently than I normally do other than I just curled the ends of my hair and left the top straight. And I just did it for something different, but I ended up really liking it, so I just decided to do it again. But I used just a 1-inch curling wand, and like I said, I just curl maybe up to like here, and that's it, and leave the rest straight. And it just gives a really pretty effect. It's just kind of bouncy at the ends instead of, you know, all over. So anyway, final thoughts on the makeup. I love this Juvia's Place palette. I love how my looks come out every single time, and I do think there is quite a bit of variety in here. There's a deeper shade that I didn't even play with, which is this one right here. Also, there's a hot pink if you want to kind of punch things up a little bit. You can do an all pink look and kind of skip this peachy color and just use this one if you wanted to. So I feel like there's a lot that you can do with this palette other than what I did, but I just think the formula is so good. It blends so beautifully on my eyes, so I love it. Plus, I love that you can also use these as blush because the pan sizes are so big. And I mean, like I said, I love this blush palette to death, but I just feel like there are really similar shades within the palette. So if you don't want to buy both, you really don't have to. When it comes to the Uoma products, I really, really like this mascara. I think it did a fantastic job on my lashes. My lashes look so big and voluminous. So I'm gonna leave down in the description box my thoughts on how these things wore throughout the day and just some follow-up once I actually publish this video, which will probably be a few days from now. So I'll have a chance to test everything out a little bit more than just one day. That way you guys can get just a little bit more than a first impression. When it comes to the foundation, I feel like it looks pretty good even in natural lighting. So I'm hoping that it stays that way throughout the day, and I'll be sure again to let you guys know in the description box if it wears off quickly on my nose, which I kind of feel like it's going to, but maybe it'll surprise me. And maybe next time I'll just make sure to wear like a smoothing primer on my chin and see if maybe that helps with how it looks there. Even all over the rest of my face, maybe a primer would help. So I will try it with a primer next time and let you guys know. When it comes to these lip tints, these are actually very interesting. It took me about 15 minutes or so to do my hair, and in that time, I feel like it didn't really dry down anymore. So it is retaining a little bit of that sort of dewy feeling. It doesn't look glossy, but I do think there is a dewiness to it that just looks really, really pretty. It just kind of gives my lips a healthy look without looking like I'm wearing something. So I love that about it. I love that it's not like something sitting on top. It kind of sinks in like a tint, but yet it doesn't have the dryness. So I like this. I'm just curious to see how long it's gonna last. I'm about to actually go eat lunch, so I'll update you guys in the description box how that goes and how quickly this wears off. So, I mean, so far I feel like everything was basically a hit. I think the one that I'm just not really too sure about is the foundation, but I'm gonna give that a little bit more time. So anyway, guys, I'd love to hear what you thought down below, if you have tried any of these products out and what your thoughts are on them, or if you're planning to try them out yourself. I would love to hear that as well. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. As always, I appreciate it so much. If you don't mind giving this video a thumbs up, if you enjoyed it, it'll really help out my channel. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet and you like affordable makeup, drugstore makeup, dupes, definitely be sure to hit that subscribe button. I do those a lot here on my channel. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you all in my next one. Take care. Bye.